In the outskirts of a small town, there stood an abandoned asylum that had been vacant for years. The once grand building was now dilapidated and overgrown with vines, and it gave off an eerie feeling to anyone who dared to approach it. Rumors had circulated for years that the asylum was haunted by the souls of former patients who had died there under mysterious circumstances. Despite the warnings and the stories of strange occurrences, a group of teenagers decided to explore the asylum one night. As they entered the asylum, they felt a cold breeze brush past them, and they could hear the sound of footsteps coming from somewhere inside the building. The group split up to explore different areas of the asylum, and it wasn't long before they began to experience strange and terrifying things. One of the teenagers claimed to have seen a ghostly figure in the hallway, while another heard disembodied whispers in their ear. The group began to feel as if they were being watched and followed by something that was not of this world. As they continued to explore, they stumbled upon a room with a patient's bed and restraints. The bed was stained with dried blood, and the restraints looked as if they had been used recently. Suddenly, they heard a blood-curdling scream coming from one of the other rooms. They rushed to the room and found one of their friends lying on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a deep gash on their head. As they tried to revive their friend, they heard a voice whispering in their ear, "Get out before it's too late." Terrified, they ran out of the asylum as fast as they could. The group never spoke of their experience again, but they all agreed that they had encountered something that was not of this world inside the abandoned asylum. They learned their lesson and decided to never explore anything that was rumored to be haunted again. In the weeks following their encounter at the abandoned asylum, the group of teenagers couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being followed. They started having nightmares about the asylum and the ghostly figure they had seen there. One of the teenagers, Alex, was particularly affected by the experience. They started hearing strange noises in their house at night and felt as if someone was watching them. They became paranoid and couldn't focus on anything else. One day, while Alex was home alone, they heard a knock on the door. When they opened it, no one was there, but they noticed a piece of paper on the ground. It was a map of the asylum with a message written on it. "Come back if you dare." Alex was terrified, but they couldn't shake off the feeling that they had to go back to the asylum. They called their friends and told them about the map and the message, and surprisingly, they all agreed to go back. As they entered the asylum, they noticed that it looked different than before. The vines that once covered the building were gone, and the door that was once locked was now open. As they explored the asylum, they noticed that there were no signs of ghosts or paranormal activity. It seemed as if the asylum was just an old building after all. However, as they were about to leave, they heard a voice whispering in their ear, "You shouldn't have come back." They turned around and saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was the ghostly figure they had seen before, and it was now staring straight at them. They ran out of the asylum as fast as they could, and as they reached the gate, they noticed that the ghostly figure was no longer behind them. As they walked back to their homes, they all agreed that they had experienced something that was not of this world. They learned their lesson and decided to never go back to the abandoned asylum again.